Hello and a warm welcome to another edition of To The Point. On the show this week, National General Secretary of BJP, Mr. Ram Madhav. Welcome, sir, on To The Point. My first question to you, sir, is that when you look back at the year 2018, how do you really reflect the year?
It was a year of mixed political results for us. At the national level, as an economy, we have done pretty well in this year. You know that last year was a slightly difficult year because of the demonetization's immediate draft effect, which was anticipated. We knew there would be some short-term impact on the economy. And very interestingly, the economy has recovered very fast. And this year has seen our economy growing in a very stable manner at more than 7% growth rate. And we are looking at very bright future, good projections for the next few years. That's a good thing for us. And then together with that, Prime Minister has introduced a number of new reforms in the economic system, like strengthening MSMEs and all that. That is helping sections that were ostensibly affected by certain strong measures of the government to correct the economy, namely demonetization, GST. So on the economic front, we see things very well improving. Country is poised to grow very well. On the political front, we had a tough year. We had Karnataka in the beginning of the year, sometime in the middle of the year. We did well, but we could not form the government. Rather, we could not retain the government. We attempted it, but we could not retain it. Then came the elections to these 5 states. We had some setbacks in this round of elections. But broadly speaking, on the political front, this was a tough year, but we are hoping that we will take necessary lessons from it and move forward. But I must tell you, Prime Minister, through his actions, through his governance, continues to remain very dear and very popular with the masses of this country.
Absolutely. You were just talking about the political setbacks, so to say, after the elections happened in Karnataka and these 5 states. But let me ask you a very generic question, that politics for Mr. Ram Madhav is about arithmetic or is it about chemistry?
Politics is not just arithmetic ever. It's always about the chemistry also. How you build your relations with individual leaders, individual parties. That's why, in fact, in one of my last interviews, I said, like diplomacy, in politics also, there is never like permanent enemies, permanent foes, or permanent friends for that matter. It's only permanent interests that guide you in politics. So sometimes, we have seen in last year, we have parted ways with the PDP. There the larger interests mattered. Although we were friends for 3 years, we ran a government together in Kashmir, we decided to give up. So because larger interests were at stake. So politics is not just about arithmetic.
Okay.
Although, classic example is again Kashmir. We two were together, we were very much in power, but then something else was needed, so we decided. So I always believe that it is more than arithmetic.
But at the end of the year, when you look at the entire political scenario, do you think that BJP has evolved much stronger as a party? Not talking about which allies deserted or which allies are still there, but do you think that the party per se has emerged much more strongly?
Obviously. Today also, if you see, 4 years down the line, BJP is in a way is the only party with pan-Indian presence. Congress party once used to be in the similar position. We used to be confined to Hindi heartland. We used to be called a co-belt party at one time in history. Today, that is the situation in which Congress is. Certainly, the recovery in 2-3 states in the recent assembly elections has certainly given good confidence to the Congress party, undoubtedly. But today, in a genuine sense, the pan-Indian party is only BJP.
Right.
Look at the Northeast, where the ruling party in 6 out of 7 states. And the 7th state is with an NDA party, namely Mizo National Front. So, complete Northeast today, Congress is out of power. And BJP is there in 6 states. So BJP as a party has certainly emerged as a strong party. That is one of the reasons why, if you look at what is happening at the national political level, there is this huge rush for creating a grand alliance against the BJP, knowing that no single party can really take on BJP and Prime Minister Modi. Right. Today there is a rush for creating alliances, creating a grand alliance and all that. It also shows that we have emerged as a strong party.
But when you talk about Mahagathbandhan or the Grand Alliance, so to say, do you think it's just, as Prime Minister Modi also has said, that it's the Gathbandhan of political interests who have just come together? Do you see that as just coming together of parties which are vying for a photo opportunity? I mean, how do you see that alliance?
Look, any such effort will succeed if it is anchored around a leader.
Okay.
Or a central party. The comedy or tragedy, you call it, with this so-called Mahagathbandhan is, it doesn't have one pole. It is multipolar, like the world today.
Yeah.
Too many contenders, too many parties, no anchor to bring everybody around. So good luck to them. I mean, anybody can come together and form alliances. That is what is democracy all about. But I see this whole so-called talk about Mahagathbandhan to be a non-starter.
Okay. Coming to the strategies and the policies which BJP will now adopt, especially post the verdict which came of the 5 elections, does the party really need reinvention, or it's going to follow its fundamental politics of governance, politics of reaching out to the last mile, or you need an extra firepower now to go to the battle of 2019?
Reinvention is a very big word. I don't use that.
Okay.
But every election teaches you certain lessons. You have to learn those lessons and move on. I'm sure our leadership is working on those things. You see, we have peaked in our performance in certain states, especially in North India.
Right.
In the Hindi heartland, plus also states like Maharashtra, Gujarat. These are the states we have peaked in our performance. So in order for us to get any additional seats, we have to look elsewhere.
Right.
So where South India and Eastern India,
especially
Odisha, Bengal, to some extent Northeast, these states matter. So we are focusing on them. That is the part of strategy.
Okay.
Obviously strategy we can't discuss in front of cameras fully.
Absolutely.
But I'm indicating that we are working on both fronts.
Right.
Prime Minister, government, this is our central focus. They will be focusing on delivery. They will be focusing on development.
Okay.
And we have done so much, and we will be doing much more in the given next 2-3 months time. But then we are also working on political strategy, where we have to pick up good number of seats from states where we could not do well in the last election. Right. That's how we'll be able to, again, if there are any losses elsewhere, we can balance them.
Right. Why I use the word reinvention, which you said is a very big term, because recently what we saw, the way Congress used a mix of, playing the caste card, they also used the soft Hindutva card, which we had never seen ever Congress playing out that card, and they did that. So, and they actually were seen as people who were copying BJP blindly. So, obviously the party needs something new. So, in terms of something new, that's what my question was. Is the party really going to do anything extra apart from, what has been seen so far?
No, yeah, surely. Every election is a fresh election, new election. We have to have new strategy in place, new messaging in place. When we went to polls in 2014, our central theme was, number one, Prime Minister Modi, at that time the Chief Minister of Gujarat, as a development man. Number two, the corruption and mal-governance of the UPA 1 and UPA 2. That was the central theme we took when we went to the polls. This time round, our central theme will be Prime Minister Modi remains our main campaign attraction. As a leader, his delivery, his leadership is a major asset for that party. But together with that, 5 years of our governance, what we have done to the people, this will be our central message.
Okay.
But apart from that, in terms of strategy, as I said, no, when I talk about going to new states, new areas, we have to pick up new issues. We have to package in a manner that would appeal to those areas. Why we failed in the last election was our messaging did not attract the voters there. So we have to package it in a different way. That we will do. Each state is different. India is a diverse country. We need to strategize carefully. I'm sure opposition will be thinking on those lines, but we are definitely thinking on those lines. We are working on new alliances. We are working on, you have just passingly you said some alliance partners are deserting.
Right.
It's not new to BJP. We always had this situation. In 1999, Vajpayee government fell because one important partner pulled out, Anna DMK. But in 1999 in the elections, we had DMK with us. So partners sometimes come with you, sometimes leave you, but you have to always look for new partners, especially in states where you are not a big presence. Like in South India, we are looking for good partners.
No, but for example, talking about Andhra Pradesh, Chandrababu Naidu's party TDP quit the NDA. But now if they are wanting to join back, will the party open the doors?
You see, we are not averse to alliances. You know that Mr. Chandrababu Naidu or Telugu Desam Party, they deserted us, they left us. We did not push them out.
Okay.
We had comfortable relationship with them in the first 4 years, and we had our 2 ministers in Andhra Pradesh government, and we never had any major complaints. But then for certain political reasons, Mr. Naidu decided to quit the alliance. So right now, I don't see any possibility of his coming back to NDA.
Okay.
Right now. But as I said, since we did not push him out,
Okay.
if he is interested to come back, who will say no?
Okay. Okay. You also spoke about how, in certain states, the regional parties are there. For example, Odisha, you have Naveen Patnaik. In West Bengal, you have Mamata Banerjee. Then, of course, leaders like Chandrababu Naidu and Telangana, KCR. So, do you see these bells being breached by the mainstream parties at all, or these regional kshatrabs remain where they are? Do you see a possibility of that at all for the 2019 elections?
The names that you mentioned, they are all strong leaders, undoubtedly. Regionally, they have good influence over the electorates in their respective states. To simply dismiss them or simply think that, I can simply go and decimate them will be a little far-fetched thinking.
Okay.
But then it's also equally true that they are our main adversaries in the next election. We will be fighting a very serious electoral battle with them, and we will try to defeat them, outmaneuver them in the elections. With all due respect, recognizing they are the strong leaders in the respective states. For example, if I fight in Odisha, our fight will be mainly against Mr. Naveen Patnaik's party.
Right.
Similarly, in Bengal, our main fight will be against Mamata Banerjee, because they are the strong leaders in those 2 states. There, the Congress is almost non-existent in those states. Similarly, in Telangana. Similarly, in Andhra Pradesh, is not Congress party at all. Our main fight will be against these 2 parties, YSRCP and TDP of Chandrababu Naidu.
Right. But talking about the centrally sponsored schemes, which are really doing well, be it Ayushman or the way it's being unfolded, then you have Ujjwala and several Jan Dhan Yojana, several other schemes which the present government has unfolded, and it has reached out to the person in the last mile. So is that the biggest reason of confidence for the BJP and the government right now? That they are doing well, the implementation has been very strong?
If good governance gets you votes, nobody can defeat Prime Minister Modi. And under his leadership, in the last 4.5 years, we have undertaken programs, implemented schemes that have benefited directly 22 crore people of this country. When I talk about beneficiaries, large percentage of those beneficiaries will be poor, lower middle class, underprivileged sections of the country.
Right.
So we have done so much for the poor and ordinary people of this country. So we are really hoping that the enormous work that Prime Minister has done, has earned him personally a lot of goodwill. You go to any corner in the country, people only has good words to say about him. But whether that will translate into votes is where the real challenge is. That is where our party machinery has to be very active, taking this message to the last man. I notice in many states where the opposition party in power, especially our friendly parties, they project as though these whole development programs are their own programs.
Oh.
Like if Prime Minister has a housing program, in Andhra Pradesh it is called Chief Minister's housing program. Though people think that it is Mr. Chandrababu Naidu who is doing all that, whereas it is actually the central government's program. Fair enough. I mean, states have a share. That's fine, but it should be. Credit also should be shared. It doesn't happen that way.
But then which means that the party needs to do messaging on this bit as well.
That is exactly the role of the party becomes very important.
Right.
Fortunately, under President Amit Shah, we have been able to build party organization right up to the polling station level. 80% of our constituencies have our polling booth committees today. So those committees have been tasked with only one main work today. They should take the progress of Prime Minister Modi to the people in their respective polling station area.
So I guess you give me the basic mantra, booth jeeta to chunav jeeta.
Right. Booth jeeto, seat jeeto has been our slogan. But jeeto means this time, as I said, we are going to focus on Prime Minister's leadership and his delivery in the last 4.5 years for the benefit of the people. This second part has to be practically conveyed by our cadres to the people.
The alliance which has recently been seen in Bihar between JDU, BJP and LJP, how do you see that shaping up? That's going to be looking like a strong alliance which will stay intact?
Of course, these three parties together will be a very formidable alliance in Bihar. Now that we have now that we have concluded this arrangement pretty early, we have enough time to go back to the people as a united alliance, three-party alliance, and this enough 3-4 month time will give us a lot of advantage. We are sure to sweep the state in Bihar.
Right. South India again is a point where BJP has been trying to make inroads. How do you really target South India? I mean, pockets like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka for the 2019 elections.
In South India, we have pretty good presence in Karnataka.
Okay.
Karnataka consistently gave us a number of seats in parliament. We had 18 seats in this present parliament. We lost Mr. Anant Kumar. We still have 17 MPs from that state. We are hoping to do well in Karnataka in the coming election also.
Okay.
Then in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, we need to strengthen our party's position, especially in Telangana. In the last elections, we fared very badly. That calls for serious, grassroots hard work to retain the existing parliament strength. We had one seat from that state in the last election. We have to retain it and also try to improve it. In Andhra Pradesh, the challenge is that we will be fighting the election on our own.
Okay.
In the last election, we fought together with Telugu Desam Party and we won 2 parliament seats. So there either we fight it on our own or look for other local partners, excluding these 2 parties. That is on which we are working. Tamil Nadu remains a puzzle. Tamil Nadu, with its very complex political scenario, is a puzzle. Right now, we don't have any alliance partners there. We are friendly with the ruling dispensation there. But as we move closer to the elections, we will certainly have a kind of strong political alliance there. DMK has announced their intention to go with Congress party. I always say that DMK was with us between 1999 and 2004. They were in the government. They were one of the very loyal and good partners in the government with Prime Minister Vajpayee. And they had good name, government had good name. As soon as they joined the UPA subsequently, and they ended up in Tihar jail and they got a lot of bad name for themselves. But then this time again they decided to go with Congress party. Good luck to them. We will also form a very formidable alliance in Tamil Nadu.
Okay. What about Uttar Pradesh? Everybody is saying that, coming together of BSP, Samajwadi Party. Is that a worrisome scenario for the party, or it's pretty confident that we'll scale up our efforts and, we'll sum out all the problems?
We are certainly confident about strong electoral presence in Uttar Pradesh, in spite of the fact that these 2 big parties are working on forming a kind of alliance there. We will go back to the people with what all we have done, again, as I said, what all we have done at the national level, and also the good work that the state government is doing under Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath ji.
Okay.
So I'm sure we will get good result in Uttar Pradesh also. Okay. Having said it, let me certainly agree the point that you are making. These two parties coming together poses an arithmetic challenge.
Okay.
Challenge in terms of arithmetic. No, as I said, politics is not about arithmetic alone. While arithmetic matters,
right,
there are many more things.
Coming to the foreign policy bit in the last lap of our interview, you often said that the diplomacy is about having a pragmatic approach rather than having a romantic approach, which so far we've seen. So when you look at the entire year of 2018, in terms of foreign policy, what is the kind of progress which you see BJP has made and the government has made?
On the foreign policy front, in the last 4 years, if you take, not just this 1 year, India has scaled tremendous heights, starting from UN to G20. Everywhere, India has become the center of attention, center of attraction for all the important countries in the world. India has continued its strong international activism in 2018 also on very difficult issues like Paris Climate Change Summit and all. India took a very independent position, not being influenced by the decisions of any other powerful countries in the world, where certain powerful countries have deserted the climate initiative. India has joined hands with countries like China, which people think that they are arch rivals, arch enemies. Together we have decided that we should, for the benefit of the larger world, we should move forward. So India has projected itself as a global statesman,
okay,
a mature nation, and the way it managed its economy has also won the laurels of the world powers, including IMF. Everybody has praised our economy's resilience and the way it bounced back, because post demonetization, people were writing obituary for our economy.
Right.
But the way it bounced back, people were surprised. I mean, it's actually a big puzzle for them.
But because of the global situation which is emerging and issues related to visas, immigration, and what we are seeing around the world, do you think that's going to have any impact in the coming maybe next 4 to 5 months when we'll see the general elections, and that could impact the situation somehow? Or you just see it as it is and it'll be intact?
Each president is different. President Trump is a different individual, unlike President Obama and before him President Bush. So each president is different, and we are able to deal with the new leadership in America well. Prime Minister Modi has been able to protect India's interests on the issues like immigration and all. We have made sure that India is not adversely impacted by the policies. After all, we cannot control the domestic policies of the American government. But we have made sure that our interests are not badly affected by those decisions. And at the same time, one very important aspect of our foreign policy has been strategic autonomy. On many fronts, whether it is Iran or our relations with countries like China or our actions in Pakistan or Afghanistan, we have emphatically conveyed to the world that please excuse us, we have our strategic economy. Thus far, no further with India. And world respects us.
Right. But what about Pakistan? It remains still a very big challenge, it seems.
Oh yes, I mean, Pakistan is a challenge not today or in the last 4 years. It has been a challenge for India for a very long time. Prime Minister has made sincere efforts to strengthen the relationship. He has made impromptu visits. From his side, he did whatever best could be done to strengthen the relationship. But today, atmosphere is still not very conducive. You see the kind of, provocative. Earlier it used to be only actions. Today you see provocative language. I mean, they want to teach us how to, maintain, how to protect the minorities and all that. A country which has literally decimated the entire minority population. Absolutely. The world had to run from pillar to post to actually protect one minority woman in that country. from the orthodox groups and parties. So they are today trying to teach India about protecting minorities, secularism, etc. This is the way Pakistan behaves. But one thing is clear: you have seen world powers, including America, coming down heavily on Pakistan as far as the terrorism problem is concerned, which is a good thing for us. We have been telling the world that terrorism emanating from the Pakistan soil is not just India's problem. It's a global problem. Today, the world recognizes that, and in the last 1 year, we have seen severe strictures being passed against Pakistan, restrictions being imposed, which is good for larger global peace.
Okay. So it was a pleasure talking to you, Mr. Ram Madhav, as usual, and you have a great year ahead and a happy 2019. Wishing you from Rajya Sabha TV.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you and all your viewers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So that's it on this episode of To The Point. See you next time with another personality. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.